Now, yeah, now it started to record. So go ahead, Raghav.
Okay. Hi. We'll start with brief introduction about Google Tag Manager. So this is a product from Google, which is, as the name suggests, it's a manager which helps us manage the tags on our website. So before we go into that what is a Google Tag Manager? What does it do? The first question I want to ask and understand what is that what we want to uh, analyze on our website, the things that we need to know about our website, that are there. You know the so if you look at it, these are the very well-known matrices that are there that website captures, like monthly active user, time spent on listening, or number of purchases per month. These are several examples from very famous websites, and these are the um, things that we actually try to find out in our websites, like what is going on. So similarly, uh, so for our if the business perspective, it is very critical for a business to improve. How does your user interact with your product? You need to know that in order to improve your product. If like Google pays you money through the Google surveys, if you know about that product, just so that they can know if you are liking their product, how is your behavior with the product. uh, so um, that is it that I feel. Shubham, do you want to add some points to it?
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Raghav. Um, I just want to start with a disclaimer that this is not a session um, which will give you hands-on experience. We'll surely give you a live demo, but this is just to give you a kickstart on the Google Tag Manager product. So as Raghav just said, that there are certain problems related to business, related to the matrices that we want to collect on all of our products. Google Tag Manager solves one of them. So it's like many of you must have used Google Analytics on your products, on your websites, on your mobile apps. Similarly for Facebook tags, for Facebook AdSense, right? So can any of you chip in and let us know that how do we integrate Google Analytics to a product, or any sort of snippet?
So with GA, I think GA
Yeah.
gives you a ID
Mm-hmm.
and a code snippet which you add in
Yes.
usual SPS. It's basically you add the script in your index.html, and the ID is also added to your application. So using that ID, and the script runs using that
Cool.
ID and sends some analytics data to GA. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Neha. So that's one tag or one snippet which is used to get all of these metrics. So for example, let's say I just only don't use Google Analytics. I also use some other analytics tool, let's say Heap or Mixpanel. I use another snippet to get certain other insights on my product. Raghav, can you change the slide over? Next slide, please. So there are a lot of user behavior that we'd like to know, such as traffic, search, site content, Google. So to get all of these things on a product, we'll be using different tags, different snippets, and as Neha said, that we'll be including all of these in the index.html or whatever the first page which loads to our site. You see there is a lot of cluttering which happens in the index.html. So Google Tag Manager helps to solve this problem of cluttering, and also some other things which we'll discuss later. Um, yeah. So what exactly is a tag? Tag is just a snippet or a small piece of code which helps you collect information from the product that you have applied it to. So Google Analytics is also a tag, Heap is also a tag, Facebook ad is also a tag. So instead of putting all of these tags individually onto your website, what we do is we put the Google Tag Manager on your product, and then the Google Tag Manager like injects all of these tags individually. Raghav?
Yeah. So currently, the traditional way of how do we work, like just Shubham explained, how do we work with the all these analytic tools, how do we integrate them? So this looks like this. Our client identifies those data points that he want to track or she want to track, and then the tech team implements the feature and add relevant tags, and add those events which we want to track. For example, like add to cart, or if it is an e-commerce website, if it is an article, a blog based website, you want to know like how many hits this particular blog got, how many people are commenting on it, how much time people are spending on it. And then we just implement all this behavior, and then product goes live. And then client again come back to us, evaluates, I want to add this data points as well, I want to track these data points as well. So what do we do? This then again, it goes to tech team again, add those events, and then the cycle goes on. So uh, you guys must have done that, some sort of this work. So anyone want to share, like what are the problem do you see in this process?
Yeah, I think I would like to add that we are using Firebase in our mobile app here, and so yeah, like you said, this is the exact same cycle that happens in our team. So basically, our BA or PO identifies events. So this is, we are using Firebase Analytics, so we are just capturing the events and using that to analyze. So the we get the list of the events, and then we add those events to those specific actual events in the code, so that that event is captured, and then those events are analyzed by the product owner.
Yeah. So if you see, thanks Prathamesh for that. But if you see, this is the second problem that Google Tag Manager tries to solve.
Yeah.
So the data points are needed by the business to analyze, right? But they have to go to the tech team to implement something, to add a new tag, and then the tag is added, then data is collected, and then again the data is sent to the analysis team. So all of this loop is kind of big. Why? So Google Tag Manager also provides a way that the business team can put these tags, these snippets by themselves. So the whole dependency on the dev team is kind of removed, and it helps to reduce the feedback cycle. So as the slide says, these are some of the advantages. It's like one-time dependency on the tech team. So once the tech team has implemented or added the Google Tag Manager snippet to your website, to your web app, then the business can take ownership and add other snippets as well. You can add multiple tags events at runtime. For example, your site is live, you can just go on to the production instance for Google Tag Manager, and with just one click, one publish button, all of your new snippets will be added to the live instance. And same happens for the remove tag at runtime. Raghav?
Right. So thank you for adding these pointers, Shubham, and thank you, Pratmesh, for sharing your experience. So you might be asking, like, once we solve this problem through Google Tag Manager, we are solving all those problems through Google Tag Manager. Is there any disadvantage? So yes, there are. So if you look at Google, how does Google share this GTM with us? Is that it's very easy to implement, or for marketer as well. So my experience with GTM suggests me that it is not that easy to implement for somebody who comes from a non-technical background. You need to learn certain things before need to have some technical knowledge, and it is helpful if you take a developer's help while implementing these. Apart from it, once and the learning curve is is steep. So, and apart from that, there is another thing that it adding a lot of tags can impact your performance as well. Sometimes there is a possibility that since non-technical people might be adding tags and trying to um, analyze data and add data points to track. There is a possibility they might do it wrong, and it might impact the performance of that. So you have to plan properly to implement your tags, and similarly. So I'll take a real-time examples, and we will, talk about all those terminology used in Google Tag Manager. What are the things that we do? So I'll take a live example that we are using in one of our products called Thunderball. Um, I'll take a very simple example to track how many people try to log in into our system. Okay.
Sorry, Raghav, can you just give a one-liner? What does that app do?
Oh, so Thunderball, our project Thunderball, I think Mayank can explain it better. But it's a for programming enthusiasts, it's a platform for them to solve coding problems, and yeah, that's it.
It's basically so Thunderball is basically a coding challenge sort of platform. So you go to Thunderball and there are some coding challenges which are given, and people can solve those coding challenges and submit their solutions. So the platform provides that. Thunderball basically provides that kind of platform. It's good, it's like a fun exercise for people who just wants to, shape their
Okay.
programming skills or refine their programming skills. That is what Thunderball is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is our product Thunderball. Can you see the? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so this is our Google Tag Manager account. We have already set up all the things. This was so first, before I move on, I'll talk about these three basic terminologies, and you can set up account. I have no, I'm not gonna do that right now, but I'll talk. It's very pretty straightforward. You just have to create an account, and then you have to create a container. There are only 3 or 4 fields that you have to fill. It's not that complex. Um, yeah, so after you set up, you will see this admin panel, and there are now you see all these in the left menu. It's tag, and then there is triggers, and then there are variables. So what is a tag? So tags are, we already like Shubham explained previously, like tags are the snippets of the code, or for tracking third party tools, and these tags tells Google Tag Manager what to do. इसके एग्जाम्पल में is Google AdWords, sorry, Google Analytics, universal tracking, and AdWords हो गया, AdWord conversion tracking code, heat map, etc. And then there comes the trigger. As the name explains, triggers are a way to fire the tag that you set up. They tell Tag Manager when to do what you want it to do. Okay. And then there are variables. What is variables? Basically, variables are additional information that GTM may need for your tag and trigger to work. Here are some. I'll show you an example. Starting from variable, just look at all the variables that you see. You see the click classes, click elements, click ID, click target, click text. So all these values we see, and then there are triggers. You see, like it's a login click I have created. You can create new triggers, and then there is text. So I'll start with adding a new tag. So what I want to do is, let's set up our expectations first. What do you want to do? I want to track if people try to sign into our platform. So what we will do is first, we already have a setup for our Google Analytics. So uh, I'll name my tag as and now this is tag configuration. How do you want to what tag do you want to configure? So you have multiple options from here. As you can see, there are Google Analytics, Universal Analytics, then there are Google Ad Conversion Tracking, Google Ads Marketing, and it's a huge list. LinkedIn and all sort of things that you can think of. And if you feel it is not there, then you can use custom HTML tags as well. So right now I'm going with Google Analytics, Universal Analytics that we already have set up. So this is a very basic track type page view, basically where you see all those. It triggers on the page view as soon as the page view loads. It tracks the page view. Now what we want to do is we want to track an event. Okay, and I'll leave right now it to no, I'll not change it. Yeah, now we have to actually use our Google Analytic tracking ID. So we can do by two-way. Either we can create a variable so that we can just select it from the current variables, or we can directly override the setting and just use the tracking ID from here. So I'll use my um, tracking ID. In Google Analytics, you can find your tracking ID from here. This is my tracking ID. I'm going to use this. Yeah. So that's it. Now there is called triggering, like when this Google Analytics should be triggered. So right now I'll change it to PHP first for now, and so this is all page is already existing one which we don't create. Usually it exists by itself. So I just click on it. So this will our event will be triggered at all the page views basically. So if I save it, that should be it. And so there is another feature, so you don't have to publish it right now. So if you want to check it online, so you'll see I don't have to go to local or anything, local or code at anything else. We can do it on live website and check without even deploying it. So I can just click on the preview mode. What it does is on the preview mode, our window of this Chrome window becomes window. You can see your current changes on the current live website if it is there. So let's see. So you can see that it gets fired. GA login gets fired. Okay, because page loaded. And all these variables right now there are none because we haven't used any. But if you can see, you can it shows that tags are fired. Now there is another extension that you have in Chrome is called Google Tag Assistant that helps you analyze all the Google Tag Assistant, all the Google tags. So you can see here we are using Google Analytics and then Google Tag Manager with this ID, and through this you can also know what things are called, what are not, something like that. Okay, so our motive is to find out, like when we click on this, we should know that it was clicked. So what we'll do is I'll create a trigger. I already have it, so I'll explain it, or I'll create a new for us. Do you want to? Okay, so what we'll do is we need to find a trigger type from here. So what, in our case, we need a click and you can there are multiple options from it you can choose from. So I'm choosing all elements right now, and then there are options from all kind of clicks you want to trigger your tag, or you want some click. So we want some click right now, but before we move on, so how one could do matlab change those things. So configure these things, so I'll show you. First thing is we will go with all clicks and save it. And moving on, so we need to configure our GA login to show how do we want to trigger our so I want to click on click login, and I should see my event should trigger. That's it. Now I have to refresh, and I should be able to see the changes here. That's it. So as soon as I click on this, you see a click trigger is fired. Now let's look at the variables. What variables do we have right now? So we have variables called click classes. There is none. We don't see anything. And all these variables. And so see, there is we had to create another variable to find out like how can we track it. So these are the variables which helps us decide what do we want to do, as in what values we can track, or how can we uniquely identify our element. In our case, I had to do this through the text which is available in image alt, which is login. You can see it right here. And now what will I do is I'll just customize my trigger to specific click, and I want this particular variable to contain login, and that's it. Save it, and that should do it. And when we go on tags, what we will do is we'll change our track type to event, and it's a category click, and the action is login. That's it. Save it, and let's refresh it. So as you can see, yeah, if you look at it, our tag is fired, and if you look at the variables, we have all the variables in place. Now look at the tags की हमारा जो हमने Google Analytics का fire होना था वो fire हुआ या नहीं, which it did. Google Analytics got fired. Now let's check it on our Google Analytics. Is it working or not? So if you can see, we just got a hit, click login. And once you are okay with whatever you have done, you can submit it, and you can publish it with the version name. Let's call it and you can publish it to live environment, and that's publish it. That's it. Now you can see all those changes on our live website. That's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Sorry, one question.
Yeah.
How do you integrate it in the first time? So basically, right now we just saw that you navigated through the dashboard and you could set up all these things. Is there anything extra we need to do in the code before
Okay.
this?
Okay, so I need to I forgot one step. Okay, I'll add that. So what do once we set up our GTM account, you will see this GTM ID. You see that GTM N7 DSL. So you just have to add one script, which is available. You can find it here, and just add that.
Yeah, in the install Google Tag Manager.
Yeah, that's it. So you just have to add this script to it says paste this code as high in the head section, and that should do it. That's it, and just deploy it. Yeah. Anything else?
Okay. Nothing from there.
Shubham, do you want to add any points?
Yep, I'll like to summarize what all Raghav did. So yeah, it's okay, Chintan. So Raghav, let me just share my screen.
Okay.
So the whole point of using Google Tag Manager is so that we don't have to make much changes in the code. As Raghav just showed you that the snippet, once that's installed to your website, then you can inject say Google Analytics or any sort of tag on runtime. Because Raghav didn't make any live change or any changes on the code, right? Still he was able to trigger all of that events and the magic stuff that he did. So so that's the whole point of using Google Tag Manager, that you install one tag manager and then whatever you want to do, you can do it through the UI. So I'll just walk you through how do you go about creating an account. Account is nothing. These are like different products. So for example, I have two products which I want in the Google Tag Manager. So I have one marketing or the onboarding website, and there is another website. For both of these accounts, these are the two containers. So once you make an account, you have two containers. Containers are just holders or boxes which hold your tags. So I have one for production, one for UAT, and inside that container, you can see I have these three analytics tools which have been added. So the simple point is, don't inject all those snippets into your index.html. Just inject your Google Tag Manager snippet, and then you can inject the snippets in here. So that's the whole point of using Google Tag Manager, because this makes it easier for the business to add more tags, which can be done from here, and then just preview it and submit it, and it will start working. Yeah. Cool. That's all from me and Raghav. Any questions? Anyone? Hello.
One point I would like to add is just
Yeah.
like if you are thinking what is possible, it's the sky is the limit once you know it. The basic things that we talked about, like linking, link clicks, BTF downloads, add to cart, remove from cart clicks, scroll tracking, form abandonment, shopping cart abandonment, videos views tracking, all exit link clicks. It's huge. That's it.
All right.
Uh,
Thanks,
sorry,
guys. Thanks for the session.
sorry,
Oh,
1 minute,
Prathamesh, go
Mike.
ahead.
Yeah. I had one question about payment kind of a thing. So assume that we have a payment flow already set up, and ideally, from what we have experienced is that we just integrate that third party flow, you know, and the user can just check out, just enter the card details and check out from that flow. Okay? and uh, if he exits from in between the checkout flow, can we capture that? So I think basically that's kind of an important point for metric for business. That's what I wanted to know. Can do
Yeah,
that.
but Pratnesh, this is not related to Google Tag Manager. It's like Tag Manager will just allow you to put in tags, and then
Hmm.
the tags have to take care of themselves. For example, in Google Analytics, you'll have to define certain events, but I'm not very sure about the payment integration. If the user drops out of that page, we may know the last page, but at what point he dropped off, we so we'll have to make changes in the analytics tool that we're using, and not in the Google Tag Manager as such.
Oh, yeah, got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to add one few pointers to it. So, as Shubham mentioned rightly, that if there is any analytical tool which already does it, bingo, we can do it through GTM. But if you are so, for example, like I use Servicate in one of my project, and I didn't have to trigger any of the events because Servicate was I just had to Servicate script, and that's it, and it was able to track all the events that it wanted to. So if you have some somewhat similar analytical tool already there, then GTM can through GTM we can achieve it. And otherwise there is a possibility, I cannot make a very confident comment, but I read about it that it is possible you can write macros as well. So yeah, that's it.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. I've recorded this session, and we'll share the recording as well pretty soon. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.
Thanks, Shubham. Thanks, Raghav.
Thanks, Raghav. Thanks, Shubham. Bye bye.
Bye bye.